Hello there, it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. Now today what I'm going to make is socks. Sock flowers for a present for somebody with a baby. And so first of all we need the socks, and I'm using pencils, but you can use whatever you like, and I've chosen ones that haven't been sharpened. And all the tying I'm going to do with red cotton and red wool. This is just so that, you know, Mum knows what can be thrown away. And the reason I'm using, a non-sharp pencil is just in case anyone feels helpful, really, which does happen. So all I've done is wound round with this one, and I've got a couple of brightly coloured leaves, green leaves, and maybe one or two petals. And then I'm going to carefully wind round with a piece of string. Now the reason I'm using this is because you can pull it quite tight and it can remain quite firm. So I'm trying not to buckle those too much. And if you wind round the actual beginning, then you can pull it quite tight. And it does look quite effective. Now I would recommend the thinnest socks you could buy. Obviously I'm going for nice Terraline ones because I like nice warm feet. And now with the end of the string, I'm just going to use a bit of tape to tie it up. Okay, so let's keep those little petals nice, and oops, knock everything on the floor. I tend to do that a lot if this is the first video you're watching of mine. I just keep everything on the floor. I just, you know, makes life a lot easier. So I'm putting on my tape, and that I can either hide that with a few more leaves. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, and it's quite effective. You know, if you're going to a baby shower, then you would be, I don't know, you know, a talking point. So, and socks are always handy, aren't they? Now what I'm doing is I've got my thumb on the end bit here, so I've wound round the thread again, so that stays there quite well. And then I am doing another zigzag one, and then I am doing another zigzag one. This is so that when we wind it up, it looks a lot more like petals. And there we go. Now I'm going to keep my end there, and I have my pencil again, and I'm going to wind this round. So, and now with the end and it's attached, you know, that's not going anywhere, and then I can wind the string round. So this is why I'm always going to use red, so that, you know, when you give it to the mother-to-be, you can say, you know, just remove all the red thread, and then you can use the socks. So that's that done, and again we can put in a couple of petals, and we can put in a couple of leaves, and then going around the same direction, a few more, and then I can come down and I can tape it off again. And you've got to be able to do it in a way that the mums can actually make use of them. If I was to use a thread and a needle, then, you know, it would be a bit less impractical. So I'm going to turn that around the right way because I want it to look nice for camera. And yeah, so, and if it does come undone, what I can then do is I can take another piece of string, and it's just literally thread. I've used quite good quality thread so that it doesn't break whilst I'm doing it, because I'm doing it under quite a lot of pressure. And there we are. And again with the masking tape, because if you wanted to do it, you could do it with colouring pencils that the child could use. I quite like the idea of the rubber topped, the baby in question has a big sister, so I'm sure big sister will be help unrounding. Okay, so there's two ways to do it, and they're both very simple. And then the other way to do it, so we are pretty much going to roll the sock, okay? Now I'm going to do that again so you can see. I have my sock here, and I'm just going to pull my fingers through, and so as if you were going to put it on, and then I'm going to ping it. And hopefully I'm going to leave the nice pink toe bit on the outside. Now this is a case of do it as many times until you're happy. So basically we're going for a roll, and fingers crossed that's going to look like a rose. So now what I've done is I've put my pencil up right into, probably best off showing that. Okay, so I want this corner. This is the corner I'm going for. I'm going to roll the sock up, and then I'm going to place it in that corner. So now what I'm going to be left with, and this works quite well because I've got nice coloured socks, or, you know, stripy socks. I'll fold that over so that's done. Okay, now this will just fall off, and whereas before we could actually sort of rope round the ends, I'm going to probably have to be a bit cleverer, and luckily I've got the heel there, so I can just rope round that with my thread, and then it's all ready to go. Okay, so there's 3 types, and it's entirely up to you whether you use the extra leaves. You know, I think it looks nice, and we can cover that up with a few petals, maybe make that petal rounded. And you know, if they wanted to keep them, then we could do them a bit with felt or something that doesn't fray. But basically all I'm going to do for this is do it so it's available till the due date. Okay, I'm going to finish these because otherwise it's just going to look a bit silly, and then I'll be right back with you to show you how I've done. Hi, so welcome back. I've done all my flowers, and I'm really happy with them. I'm going to just keep those leaves out. Now what we need to do is we need to tidy up this stem. Now we can either do it with wool and just keep on winding it round, or I do have some ribbon. Now I love my friends, don't get me wrong, and I don't mean to sound hard, but you will get to a point where you have to sort of explain what it is, maybe not to the mother but to the other guests at the baby shower. So yeah, in a way it's quite nice to have the little scruffy bits showing. So to start with, I'm going to attach these together. Now there's a lot to be said for just putting an elastic band around the bottom here, and then you can sort of, I'm not going to say hammer it home, but it's quite nice if you can get it so that it stays up on its own. So let's start again, rather than do it that way, let's do it the way that I'm explaining it. So what I have here is a piece of elastic. This is only because I have elastic and I don't have an elastic band, but I'm sure if I went downstairs and had a little root around I'd find hundreds. So yeah, so yes, an elastic band or a hair tie. And we're going to take all our pencils. Now I must admit, when I'm doing things like this, if I do have half a dozen pencils left over, then I will just put them in loose in the bag. So I would just say, you know, yeah, it's tricky because later I'm going to be doing nappy cakes as well. So you just give them the rest of the nappies. You don't worry. So if we wiggle it around a bit so we can keep that just to stand up on their own, and there is a sort of spay bit there, and then with our ribbon I know, blue ribbons, pink socks, but hey ho. I'm just going to wind that round, and then this will keep all those loose ends in and everything else like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind, but I'm going to do the bow separately. This is so I don't have to concentrate on the ends. So, and I'm going to keep all my leaves sticking out. Lovely, so I can get that all tucked in there. That's all done. And then I can get it in a position where it will stand up. Lovely. And if one accidentally does come off, then I can just come back to that. And then obviously I'm going to get my bow and just do that separately. Only because I'm not that competent, you know. So all I'm doing is winding that round my fingers. Rather a lot here. And then we can get that stuck in. So it's all about hiding your work and hiding the attachments, but then making it so that the socks are usable afterwards. So there's the bow, and yeah, we can get that all put on there together. So yes, thank you ever so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and today we've been making a bunch of socks for a baby shower. Alright, thank you ever so much.